Hello, dear friends. We are in a countdown to the midterm elections. Opinion piece, collision course, fog of war, evasive maneuvers, changing trajectory, crash season. It's been a tough week. Simon Park says what would happen. The price of gold is soaring. Things are getting crazier. XRP is up more than 8% in 24 hours. Let's start. This could be it. Until next Tuesday, November 8th, things are getting crazier than they already have been, says Charlie Watt, who fears a false flag to create a full-scale war if there is no direct divine intervention. We are going through a season of shocks. The world is on collision course between two sides that are not well defined, because the good guys look bad and the bad guys look good. The game is very complicated. It's been a tough week, but we have this digital family to share the joy of the future to come. I always thought of a good time to pull the trigger would be when the markets close on Friday nights or just before they open Saturday nights. Let's hope they finish catching the bad guys so we can all experience divine wealth. We are about to witness the greatest show on earth. Two vessels are on collision course or at risk of collision if the angle at which they observe each other remain constant over time. As long as neither alters course or speed, they will eventually end up meeting at point A. Both are involved in a risk of collision if the angle at which they observe each other remains constant over time. Both are involved in the risk of collision. The international rules to prevent collisions establish what evasive attitude each of the parties involved must take in order to avoid collision. Difficult week. Undercover operations begin in several countries according to the Storm Rider. The eradication of evil is on the way within the fog of battle. Now it is the time. We must all pray. There have been several assassination attempts on the Commander-in-Chief, but he is heavily protected. The narrative of the Great Awakening is crushing the dark side. They are asking citizens to be patient because it takes time to count all the ballots. Mark Sira states that, in quotes, "Most of my sources say it will happen between now and Friday, November 11th. I and others have been asked to keep quiet. We seem to be in a holding pattern waiting for something to happen." Simon Parks has just given 6 scenarios of what is going to happen, and he has told that one of them was going to happen. He couldn't give the right one because they demand silence. Rumors of war. On 4th November, at her California home, it appeared that a handcuffed Nancy Pelosi was detained by federal marshals. The authorities covered up the incident. In Canada, the story reveals how the FBI worked with Canadian law enforcement to subdue funds, track Canadians, and trace politicians and bank accounts. Canadian military commanders have issued warnings to abandon their operations. U.S. Special Forces are training Haiti's police and military and have begun an assault on the Haitian group that has heisted oil and gas over the past 9 weeks due to high inflation and illegal oil sales to foreign regimes. Russia is in communication with Haitian military commanders who want to create a military coup, but the US wants to prevent this coup. Putin issues a statement on how to avoid nuclear war. In quotes, "I will not let the world's elites depopulate our planet." Russia called on the other 4 nuclear nations to work together, rather than instigate a volatile situation. According to Storm Rider, white hats within NATO have begun warning their colleagues not to mess with Russia, which is helping to undermine the alliance unity, already damaged by Turkey's rapprochement with China and Russia, as well as several European Union countries. NATO has panicked because different countries are making deals with Russia. General Petraeus is assembling a force of 60,000 men to attack Russia after a false flag provocation. NATO is preparing a force of 50,000 troops to enter Ukraine, and Russia has massed 350,000 troops. Belarus is on high alert for the possibility of a false flag attack to justify a war from Lithuania, Latvia or Estonia. China. Xi Jinping opposes the use of nuclear weapons in Ukraine. China's stock market frenzy mounts in the hope that the West is over. Germany is banking on cooperation with China to end the war in Ukraine. The G7 in Germany discusses the situation in Ukraine, China and Iran. Iran admits that it delivered drones to Russia, but qualifies that this was before the war. Real World News says cabinet chiefs have fled because they know they will be arrested. Attorney General Garland, who raided Mar-a-Lago's home, fled to Europe, and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is in Canada under Trudeau's protection. Economy. The stock market is artificially propped up so that it doesn't fall too much. Several countries have not accepted a toll for international trade for more than a week. Elon Musk threatens to name and shame advertisers who boycott Twitter. The price of gold is soaring to the sell-off. The price of the cryptocurrency XRP is up more than 8% in 24 hours. Disputes with big oil increase as the well needs more oil. Arizona deploys a wall on the border with Mexico with 110 shipping containers. Spain. The Financial Times warns of what could happen in Spain in the not-too-distant future due to the sharp rise in the river, which closed October at 2.6%, its highest level since December 2008. Analgesics, tranquilizers and antidepressants, the most prescribed drugs in Spain. People need to know what has been in place up to a certain point. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away, and in fact everything that has been done to the humankind for thousands of years has proliferated in the dark. Our choice not to know things because it is easier to live that way has brought us to the brink of extinction. The great shift is gaining momentum, says Sananda, in quotes. It seems now at this time that this great shift will move forward in small increments, and then it will gain more momentum. You have already gone through the small increments, and the bigger changes are upon you at this time. All you need to do is to continue to be aware of what is happening, but not to become part of what is happening, and not to reattach yourself to the three-dimensional expression, but rather watch it from afar, as we do from our ships. Masters of Deception. Blu-ray's opinion. We are being played by both sides, who are masters of deception, with technology we wouldn't even recognize. If we get to this point using off-world manipulators, it will take good off-world guys to fix it. Unless trusty Judge Anna von Wright can walk through walls, I doubt she will be the one chosen to fix this. Nothing will change until the world leadership changes. A global currency restart or reset is here, and countries no longer want to be held hostage, warns Frank Justra. In an exclusive interview with billionaire philanthropist Daniela Gamboni, Frank Justra lays out his thesis for the global currency restart, and that is already underway. We are at the beginning of a currency war, and I am, in quotes, and I am absolutely certain that we are heading for a restart of the global monetary system, warns Frank Justra, CEO of Fiore Group. He tells Daniela Cambone that Presidents Putin and Xi Jinping, in quotes, have made it very clear that they want an alternative to dollar after being held hostage to the currency for so long. Predicting that the dollar will lose its status as the world's reserve currency, Justra says China will emerge victorious in its efforts to consolidate a new gold-backed central bank currency. Everyone should own physical gold, he says, when asked about the growing privacy issues posed by technology. In quotes, I think the pivot is just around the corner. The Fed's math doesn't make any sense, Justra says when asked about the central bank's current rate hike cycle. The Fed is trying to talk about inflation and something is going to break. They have ruined the dollar, he concludes in quotes. Alternatives. A new era will emerge, but now is not the time to gamble your money according to Stansberry research. In quotes, this is not the time to gamble with your money. We are at a time when things are changing. Once E.B. Tucker, author of the best-selling Why Gold, Why Now? Tucker details that we are on the brink of a new era. Barrick is one of the best gold companies, he continues. If we get to a point where gold producers actually determine the price, it's a different ballgame, Tucker concludes. We have destroyed the Fed's ability to act, writes Dr. Stephen Leb. Nothing that the BRICS movement has been fairly quick to move away from Western markets. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization was initially formed between China and Russia. Its goals were security and economic growth. In 1996, India and Pakistan joined. They have many cultural and political differences between them. They are looking for ways to harmonize economic growth while maintaining the sovereignty of the nations involved. They have also recently met with other nations such as Saudi Arabia and Iran. Culturally, they are rivals, but they are coming together. Many other countries also want to join one or both organizations. The World Gold Council wants to create a blockchain to discipline the way countries use money. Stephen discusses why the gold standard brought stability to the economic system. He believes that NATO is breaking up as countries like Turkey ally with Russia in gas distribution. Italy intends to leave the European Union and the euro. Europe as a bloc is beginning to disintegrate. Sanctions against Russia and China are damaging the West's technological growth. He says, we are at a critical point in humankind's civilization. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.